too short.
Is it good?
Hello?
Okay. How are we going to do this if the sheet's over there? Okay, sounds good. It's going to fall out.
Can we just hold it?
Yeah. We're just a welcome and wait for it to come out.
Welcome, HKS Class of 2018, dear friends and family. My name is Sahar Ali Dar.
And I'm Nikita Tanipardi.
And we are two of your graduation marshals for the Harvard Kennedy School Class of 2018. We have the honor and pleasure of welcoming you to today's Class Day Awards ceremony. This is the first all-school event of what is surely going to be a memorable commencement week.
We, along with 6 other graduation marshals who you will get to meet today, want to extend a warm and very special welcome to all of our friends and family. For those who couldn't join us here in Cambridge today, this event is being live streamed, and you can share the link with friends and family by visiting the HKS commencement website. Welcome to everyone watching from near and far, and thank you so much again for joining us. This moment is just as much ours as it is yours. It is because of your love and support that we are here today, about to graduate from the Harvard Kennedy School. We're both standing here so proud to represent our friends, our colleagues, and our classmates. We're both a little nostalgic already, and we're very happy to share this special day with all of you. We came to HKS from all over the world, and today we sit in the JFK Junior Forum, about to head out again on different paths. But this time, we'll be forever united by a common story, our HKS story.
Just like the class speakers that you will hear from today, Nikita and I were raised in very different countries, have very different professional backgrounds, and pursued completely different degree programs. Nikita worked in impact evaluation at JPAL in a village in India, and also for the World Bank, whereas I worked as a corporate and human rights lawyer in Chicago. Nikita was part of an incredibly structured MPID program, also known as the Quant program for everyone here at HKS. Whereas I was part of an almost entirely self-structured MPA program that also allowed me to concurrently pursue my MBA from MIT Sloan. Nikita traveled to Sri Lanka for her second year policy exercise to study Sri Lanka's exports and economic growth, whereas I led a team of students to Houston, Texas for a CPL Dubin Field Leadership Experience to learn about crisis management during and in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. Yet, in spite of our unique backgrounds and differences, we are able to embrace our commonalities too. We both researched and wrote hundreds of pages for our classes and activities at HKS. We've both worked on projects with the private and public sector and have had an impact both in the US and around the world. We both care about the plight of the Palestinian people and stood in awe as we visited the holy sites in Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Nazareth during student-led trips to the region. And finally, we both care deeply about the future of refugees and help to plan student trips to Lesbos, Greece, to work with refugees of all backgrounds. It is these shared experiences that bring us together as one school. We came together here, and we will always share the unique common bond of the Harvard Kennedy School. We celebrate today the broader goal that brings us together, our school motto. We ask ourselves, what can we do? The student speakers that you will hear from today are also unique in their background, yet you will hear commonalities in their stories and the values that they embody. You'll hear from a school teacher who worked in New Orleans named Aaliyah, a Peace Corps volunteer in Latin America named Jonathan, a central banker in Mexico named Mariana, and a civil servant in the Philippines by the name of Claire.
As we begin our commencement week celebrations, we want to take the time to recognize some of the individuals that are part of this community and who have played a significant role in shaping our experiences and inspiring us through what they do. To start with, we'll begin today's Class Day ceremony by inviting on stage Jessica Innocent, the president of the Kennedy School Student Government, to share her thoughts with us. Jessica Innocent was born and raised in Haiti, where she worked there from a very young age as a street vendor alongside her mother until she moved to the United States 13 years ago. She is a mid-career MPA candidate, and today she is the president of the Harvard Kennedy Student School Government. Prior to coming to Harvard, Jessica worked for Morgan Stanley Investment Management as director. In her spare time, she manages a nonprofit that she started in her hometown in Haiti to support women business owners in the informal economy. And she also serves on 2 nonprofit associate boards in the US, Minds Matter and Storefront Academy. In addition, she enjoys mentoring and coaching first-generation students with America Needs You and iMentor, and she is also fluent in 4 languages. It is my incredible privilege to welcome on stage Jessica. Thank you.
Good afternoon, graduates, parents, relatives, friends, and faculty. It is an honor for me to be standing before you today and to have served as your student body president. I stand today before you as an immigrant and an American citizen. When I left my home in Haiti at 17, leaving family, friends, and everything behind, I spoke minimal English and enrolled in a community college working 2 jobs. My resolve to challenge and develop myself was instilled in me by my parents, 2 incredible people who have no formal education, but the one thing they've taught me is to love learning and go after what I believed in. My dad is not here today. He's fearful of flying. I've tried every trick to get him to the airport. He's just not getting on planes. But my mom is here, and thank you for everything you've done and all the sacrifices you've made. I think it's because of everything you've done that I'm here. So merci en pile, mamie. De tout mon cœur, je t'adore. I didn't think I could cry. And the most important, I'm just really grateful to God because I think it's by His grace and His blessing that I'm really standing here today. Today and this week, we honor our graduates, but we also honor you, parents, partners, and friends, those in this room and those who could not be with us today. Your love and support made this week and today a reality, so thank you. We also honor our beloved classmate, Ngozi Peter, who was supposed to be among us today, and he left an incredible mark on this community. I'd like us to take a few seconds just to honor his memory and memories of other parents or friends who just couldn't be with us today. Fellow classmates, the moment has arrived. A moment to celebrate our individual and collective achievements and to reaffirm our commitment to public service. Today, as I scan the room and from speaking to many of you, we're all filled with so much emotions: excitement, anxiety, nervousness about the future. Some of us know what's next, and some don't, like myself. Let us harness these emotions to make this week one to remember. As we reflect on this year, we have so much to celebrate as a community. The various formals, PAEs, SIPAs you've all completed, how we celebrated and pushed for greater diversity on campus, speakers you've all brought to campus, and most recently, the former president of Mongolia, and student-led treks that you've all organized. How members of our community across Harvard organized, leading to the inception of the historical Graduate Student Union. Engagements, marriages, babies, and for me, newfound love. I also want to thank you for contributing to my growth and allowing the student board to serve you. That once extremely shy girl who disliked public speaking, who never imagined she could be at Harvard leading a student body, I found my voice here at the Kennedy School, and it is because of all of you, your support, and the challenges you presented me every single day. While there is much to celebrate, I certainly have much that I will miss. I'm going to miss seeing familiar faces in my favorite place on campus, the computer lab dungeon. I will miss learning from an incredibly diverse and talented group of colleagues. Most importantly, and I think most of us will miss this, I'll miss the free food WhatsApp group. As we get ready to graduate, many of us wonder what the future holds. I got a glimpse of that this past weekend at the alumni reunion. I spoke to Juanita from the class of 1998. Her story touched me profoundly and helped confirm that the adaptive framework for MyFits is not just Kool-Aid, it's actually real. When she left HKS, she was excited about everything she had learned and wanted to do in her country of Colombia. She expected everyone back home to embrace her ideas on how to shape policies. She had so much hope about the future, but she had changed, and the world she went into after spending 2 years at HKS also changed. Some of you have been here since 2016 and are now entering a very different and more polarized world where uncertainty is now the norm. A world where women have fought against sexual harassment for decades, but they're now finally being heard. Where marginalized communities and the media is under attack daily. And each one of us will answer a call to serve in this new reality, whether at home or abroad. And during my time serving you, I have 3 important lessons that I want to share. First one is passion and conviction are important. We shall harness these to shape the world we wish to serve. But what we have learned as a diverse community is that a cornerstone of leadership is in the ability to engage in civil discourse. These interactions will teach us to be more empathetic and tolerant and get us ready to do the type of tough work we have to do once we leave the Kennedy School. Second, having a Harvard degree does not mean that we do not have more to learn. Let us not forget the sacrifices of men and women who came before us, many without Harvard degrees, in our communities who exemplify public leadership. Let's remember who we are and where we come from and the communities that are waiting upon us to serve them. Work alongside them and learn from them. And the third one is around questioning. Many of us came to the Kennedy School with questions and hoping to get answers. But I feel personally I'm leaving with even more questions. When I came here, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But being here made me question everything instead. Question how I see the world and my place in it, and who do I want to be. But it also reminded me of the potential in me and the potential in all of us. To conclude, from the very bottom of my heart, it's been a true honor to serve as your student body president. Thank you for the friendships, lessons, and hope. We have a lot of work ahead of us. I hope that the path we choose from here on out offers us endless opportunities for success and failures. Yes, failures, because they'll give us the courage and stamina and resilience to try again and again and still have more love to give each time. May we continue to support and challenge one another from near and far. And may the hope that brought all of us to the Kennedy School continue to light our way into the future. With that, I just want to say congratulations and best of luck to everyone.
Thank you very much, Jessica. And also thank you for everything you did this year and all the student government representatives. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Carolina Zambrano Barragan. and I'm the student marshal of the Mid-Career Master's Program in Public Administration. It's my pleasure to start the official award ceremony with the Sue Williamson Award, which recognizes the staff that have enhanced the student experience here at the Kennedy School. This year, we have 3 members of the staff that won the award, and I will share with you some of the wonderful words that people that nominated them submitted. So the first award, here are the words. She is the soul, the friend, the goalkeeper, the boss, the ears, the arms, the hugs, the support, the contention, the help, and the spirit we all needed this year more than once. Her unlimited and unconditional dedication to the Mason Fellows and the wider mid-career cohort goes beyond any expectation. HKS would not be the same place without her. Suzanne Shende rocks. Just one more word. Suzanne rocks and excels, and she even makes it look easy. She is a superstar. So we present the Sue Williamson Spirit Award to Suzanne Shende, who is the director of the Mason Fellow Programs and the associate director of the Masters in Public Administration. The next award also goes for a she or her. She has shown me how to support the value of truth and knowledge even when it is not easy to do so. She has helped the school face some of the hardest work we have to do, that of facing privilege and racism in our institution. This is painful, hard work that no institution wants to face, and holding a light up that is not to that is not an easy thing to do. That's why I came to HKS to learn, and she is the biggest example of how I have learned it, more than any class or professor here at the school. She helps engage difference for deeper understanding, civil discourse across lines of difference, and better policy work. And so the next Sue Williamson Award goes to Natara Gray, Assistant Director of the Office of Student Inclusion.
Get away from the podium a little. Sorry, Emma's always. Carolina, can we get a photo without
Yes.
the podium? Sorry. Thank you, Emma.
And the third award goes to Rich Donner, who couldn't be here today. He is the security guard, and we still want to honor him. And also through him to all the invisible people that make our experience here a lot better and richer. So Rich is the kindest and most patient security guard, who always has a wry smile on his face whenever he meets me. As someone who spends a little too much time too late on campus, he is always there to encourage and guide me in getting my work done before the midnight deadline. He's diligent about his own work and quietly keeps track of all the students, noting when we come and go. Rich makes me feel like there's a community at HKS and reminds me that our community extends outside of the students at the faculty. Thank you, Rich, for your care and hard work.
There are so many great awards today, but this one is really special to me. The Ellen Raphael Award. Ellen was an MPP alum who was distinguished by a remarkable career in educational leadership and policymaking. Distinguished as well, sadly, for her untimely death in her 40s, just as she was getting really good. Her family, shortly after her death, set up this award in her memory for a graduating MPP student who exemplifies her characteristics of intellectual excellence, academic accomplishment, zest for public service, commitment to the Kennedy School, and personal warmth, integrity, and loyalty. So Ellen was an MPP icon, but she was also my classmate and my friend. And the MPP program was not very big at that time, so I knew her really well. I knew what she was good at, anything analytic, anything related to being a friend. I knew what she was bad at, mostly carrying a tune or suppressing a wisecrack. I knew how she took her coffee. So it's especially meaningful for me to help select and to confer this award. This year, we had a wealth of candidates, just some amazing people who were nominated by their peers. And one of the happiest duties of the year was to serve as part of the committee that gathered to consider the nomination of these terrific MPPs. And that meeting could have gone on all afternoon. We would have had a wonderful time, just luxuriating in these examples of talent and passion and accomplishment. But in fact, it wasn't all that long a meeting, because it didn't take us very long amid all the wonderful candidates to zero in unanimously on the person who was clearly wonderful in just the right way. And that person is Laura White. She could come down.
So I'm Professor Matthew Bunn. I'm one of the several faculty who teach the second-year seminars to help the students through the process of doing their policy analysis exercises. So I'm here to give the award for the best PEs this year. Now, honestly, this class was an amazing class. You gave us a really difficult problem. You produced so many outstanding PEs that it took us actually quite some time to go through and make decisions on the awards. And we, I believe for the first time in the history of the Kennedy School, decided to give out 4 awards for the best PEs. So, but there were a lot of others who were also really quite outstanding. So it was a difficult job. So without further ado, these are in no particular order. I'm just going to do them alphabetically. First, Julie Ahn, Maeve Campbell, and Pete Notkin. So, this is an amazing PAE on preventing the resurgence of ISIS in northern Iraq, with really a tour de force of both in-depth research, including a bold trip to Iraq, and analysis. Made an incredibly complicated problem reasonably easy to understand, some compelling and actionable recommendations. Their advisor had lived in Iraq for years, was Deputy National Security Advisor for Iraq and Afghanistan, and said, boy, I learned an amazing amount from this PE, and it ought to be required reading for everybody working on Iraq in the years to come. So, congratulations. All right, next. I'm going to mangle this name. I apologize. Patricia Florescu and Jack Reed. Are Patricia and Jack here? I see someone coming. So this is also an amazing PE. It's a deep dive into the complexities of the electricity markets of the Pacific Northwest. It's called Realizing the Value of the Bonneville Power Administration's Flexible Hydroelectric Assets. And they look at the many constraints the BPA has to deal with, from protecting fish to delivering reliable electricity. And they offer really clear ideas about how the electricity markets could be changed to adequately price the value of the important low-carbon backup that the BPA supplies for intermittent renewables. So again, congratulations for an outstanding PAE. Their advisor, Bill Hogan, who I will say is a curmudgeon who is hard to satisfy, said it was maybe one of the best 2 or 3 PEs he'd seen in 40 years at the Kennedy School. So, thank you. Congratulations. All right. Next, we have Sophie Feintuck. Okay. So, another amazing PAE. This one on the International Rescue Committee's Families Make the Difference program for protecting children in conflict and post-conflict zones from child abuse. It's an amazing integration of a wide variety of both quantitative and qualitative data sources, really clear and compelling conclusions. So her advisor, Jackie Baba, called it a superb PAE, a model of how to combine complexity and depth of analysis with clarity of thought, classification, and presentation. I would also say, as one of the members of the committee, this was the most beautifully presented of any of the award-winning PAEs. Yeah, congratulations. And finally, there seems to have been an advantage this year in having your last name begin with F. Ethan Forskren. Is Ethan here? So he may not be here. This is an amazing PAE on managed care in Iowa for Medicaid patients. Iowa has shifted almost all of its Medicaid patients over to managed care and thereby imposed enormous burdens on the safety net hospitals. And with some amazing data sleuthing, Ethan managed to actually quantify what those burdens were and make some quite compelling recommendations. His advisor argued that there's material there for a really good academic journal article, actually. And his recommendations on implementation go so far that he even offers a negotiating strategy for how to convince the people that need to be convinced as to how to get it done. So together, these PAEs represent the very best of the Kennedy School, focusing in-depth research and incisive analysis on the mission of improving human well-being. So congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jacqueline Barber, and I'm a professor here. I teach mainly human rights-related issues, and I'm delighted to make Sophie Feintuck make the journey from the second floor down here again to award her the prize for the best human rights-related policy analysis exercise of the year. Well done, Sophie. My colleague, Professor Bunn, has already mentioned Sophie's thesis topic, which was the work of the International Rescue Committee in developing this Families Make a Difference program. And I just want to say one word about why I think it's this thesis or this PA was so special. Most of us who work on refugee and conflict-affected population issues think of the violence perpetrated in conflict. We think of the problems of refugee camps. We don't often think about the impact that this conflict situation has on families, the most intimate place where children can expect safety. And what Sophie's thesis did was to look at a really creative way of strengthening families to enable them to better care for their children and to use less physical violence. So it's really a remarkable contribution. So again, Sophie, congratulations.
Good afternoon. I'm Nick Talent, one of the MPP graduation marshals. I'm honored to introduce Aliyah Bhatia as our MPP Class Day speaker. Before coming to HKS, Aliyah worked in education and consulting. Her first formative work experience was teaching in New Orleans. While at HKS, she has studied policy areas beyond education that impact children and families alike, focusing primarily on housing and workforce development. This year, she coordinated the Kennedy School's Affordable Housing Development Competition. Please welcome Aliyah Bhatia.
Nick mentioned that I used to teach. And teaching over 200 students has given me quite a few windows into how public policy impacted their lives. Today, I'd like to share the story of one of my students with you. This was my second year of teaching. There was a young girl named Coriel in one of my classes. And at the time, she was 16. One day, Coriel disappeared from my class. When I found her, I discovered a few things about Coriel. The first thing I discovered is that Coriel is an orphan. Her dad died before she was born. Her mom has been in and out of jail since her childhood. The second thing that I learned about Coriel is that when she had been coming to class full-time a high school student, she was also working the maximum number of hours at Taco Bell that they would let a 16-year-old work. And she was raising her 1-year-old son. And the third thing that I learned about Coriel is that the reason that she disappeared from my class is that she'd been kicked out of the place she was staying and now was running from house to house, seeking safety and security for her and her son. Soon after this, Coriel became the first person in her family to graduate from high school. In the next few years, she also hopes to become the first in her family to graduate from college. She'll have a mountain of debt very similar to some of ours, but she'll also have an associate's degree so that she can show her kids that they can go to college too. There are some paths that allow a student like Coriel to come to a place like Harvard. And a number of you in this room are a testament to that, having overcome tremendous adversity to be sitting here today. But there are also many paths that do not lead a student like Coriel to a place like Harvard. And yet, she has already learned so many of the topics that we come here to HKS to study. She experiences cost-benefit analysis when she's looking between charter school wait lists and magnet school admissions tests and the incredibly high cost of private school tuition because she wants to make sure her kids have a great education. She sees the need for leadership across difference when someone breaks into her home and she calls the police, but they never come. She She gets a crash course in negotiations when her mom gives birth to another child, Coriel's baby sister. And the state deems Coriel's mom unable to take care of this child. And so the social worker brings this little kid to Coriel's baby sister, and says, "Will you adopt this as your third child? Because if not, she may have to go into the foster care system." Coriel is proof to me that we don't have to go looking for an invisible island in the Mediterranean Sea to find Wonder Woman. Sometimes Wonder Woman is right beneath our nose. And as you can see, Coriel is somebody who experiences public policy on a daily basis throughout her life. Last year, Coriel said something that has stuck with me. She said, "Miss Bhatia, my boyfriend looked you up on LinkedIn, and he says that someone like you seems too important to be spending time with someone like me." And those words have really struck me, because the last thing I would want is for this Harvard Kennedy School degree to put distance between me and my hero, Coriel. Today, Coriel's son, Kobe, is 7. And in 9 very short years, he'll be 16, the same age that Coriel was when she disappeared from my class. All around us, we see our young black boys slipping through the system. And so I ask you, will we let Kobe disappear? And when he does, or if he does, will we bring him back? Each of you has your own Coriels, your own Kobes. For some of you, it is young girls in India who are the victims of sexual violence. For others of you, it is the families in rural and urban Colombia who have been through decades of civil war and are just now reaching an opening for peace. And for yet others of you, it is Iraqi civilians who are facing the scourge of ISIS and need a combination of protection, resources, and capacity building to rebuild their country. It doesn't matter who your Coriels and your Kobes are. The challenges ahead of us are incredibly complex and interconnected. And I hope that as we set out to work on those challenges, that we'll make sure to pick up the phone and call the real experts, the Coriels and Kobes of this world, who viscerally experience public policy on a day-to-day basis. And so I ask that as we head out into this world and we reach for the stars, we also keep our hearts firmly planted on the ground, listening for those who may never earn their MPP from Harvard, but have long since earned their MPP from life.
Thank you so very much for those moving and inspiring words. My name is Iris Bonet. I'm a professor here at the school, and I direct one of our research centers, the Women in Public Policy program. And I'm here today to share with you some of the awards that the Women in Public Policy program is awarding to some of the heroes at our school here today. First, it is my great pleasure to present to you the Barbara Jordan Award for Women's Leadership. This award is given in recognition of Barbara Jordan, the first African-American woman elected to the Texas Senate in 1966. And in the tradition of the Texas Senate, she became governor for a day, the first black woman governor in US history. This award honors one graduating student, a student who has excelled with their commitment, their passion, and their dedication to building community here at the Kennedy School, and serving as a role model for women to become aspiring leaders. I'd like to congratulate this year's recipient, Sahar Dar. Please stay for a moment, Sahar. I have a few more things to say. Sahar, who was nominated by a record amount of people, and here are some of the things they wrote. Like Barbara Jordan, Sahar has overcome many barriers to become one of the class of 2018's most dynamic leaders. She has shown immense resilience in the face of adversity. And Sahar is a quiet leader, leading by example, while creating an inclusive environment for the entire HKS community. I'm also moved to tears because I know who you're thinking of now, who is not here with us today. But this award is in your honor and in her honor as well. At HKS, Sahar has served as chair and student coordinator of Ask Me Anything Diversity and Inclusion series, co-director of the Harvard Humanitarian Leadership and Policy Study Group, and of course, as the class marshal for the MPID cohort. Sahar's leadership demonstrates her dedication to building community and promoting equality and inclusion at HKS. Thank you for being such a wonderful role model, such a strong woman, and such a leader in this world. Congratulations. Thank you. Each year, the Women in Public Policy program also honors a student for the best research paper, with an analysis of an organization or a topic focused on gender and public policy. The award is named in honor of Jane Mansbridge, the Adams Professor of Political Leadership and Democratic Values here at the Kennedy School. Jenny, as many of us call her, was also the founding faculty director of the Women in Public Policy program. This year, our selection committee was impressed by a large number of incredible work here taking place at the Kennedy School, whether this is a PAE or a SIPA or another research paper. But in the end, the committee chose one recipient. Please join me in honoring Sibella Matthews. While Sibella makes her way down, let me tell you a little bit about her work. Sibella's PAE, this is the policy analysis exercise that you had her talk about before, is called Gender Mainstreaming in the Australian Government. It includes 15 different case studies from around the world focusing on gender mainstreaming. Gender mainstreaming looks at what our policies can do to impact men and women equally, and how we allocate our budgets and how we make decisions that impact men and women. And in many ways, Sibella's work is one of the first pieces bringing together the different experimentation that is taking place around the world. Sibella's advisor, Professor Hannah Riley Bowles, writes about the work. It is a substantial piece of research that could form the foundation for a meaningful publication beyond its immediate purpose now. Sibella, congratulations, and thank you so much for this important work. It is now my pleasure to present to you the Holly Taylor Sargent Award for Women's Advancement. The award was established in 2005 by then Dean of the Kennedy School, Joseph S. Nye Jr., and his wife, Molly Nye, to honor a member of the community, which could be a faculty member, a staff member, a student, for their contributions to the advancement of women at the Harvard Kennedy School. The award is given in recognition of Holly Taylor Sargent, who then was the Associate Dean for Advancement and Senior Director for University Women's Initiatives, and really brought a focus to gender equality to the Kennedy School. I would like to congratulate this year's recipient, Professor Kesley Hong. So Professor Hong is a lecturer here at the Kennedy School and also the faculty chair of the mid-career summer program at the Harvard Kennedy School. She teaches both in degree and executive education programs, and her teaching primarily focuses on negotiation and decision-making. Here's what one of Kesley's nominators wrote. Too often, what researchers refer to as non-promotable tasks or service go unnoticed and unrewarded. But Kesley was not deterred by this. Instead, she assisted a conference team of 30 women students in creating a student-run conference on women in power at HKS that attracted more than 300 attendees and included political, business, civil society, and academic leaders among the speakers, and was a great success. In addition to her work with the Women in Power conference, Professor Hong also worked with another group of students focused on increasing equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging at the Kennedy School. I applaud Kesley's commitment to our students and her support in making this a place that is welcoming of everyone, faculty, students, and staff, irrespective of their gender, their race, their nationality, their sexual orientation, their gender identity, their political views, or their religion. Please join me in congratulating Professor Hong.
I'm going to break with tradition and steal the mic for a second, because I need to acknowledge the students who inspire me and say thank you. Because there are so many students who have put in countless, yes, unpaid hours working for diversity and inclusion at the Kennedy School. So to the huge team of students who worked to create the Women in Power Conference, and particularly Ali Collins, Barb Peled, Marie Perot, amazing job, and thank you. And to all of the students who have been working for diversity and inclusion because you care about our community and you have courage, you all inspire me, and in particular, Shaniqua McClendon, Clarice Chang, Camilla Tofik, Rosie Greenberg, Eamon O'Connor, Yusaku Kawashima, and Ali Collins. Thank you to all of you for everything you do.
I was not gifted with height. I apologize. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natara Gray, and I am I'm the Assistant Director for Student Diversity and Inclusion in the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging. Breathe. Okay. It's a very long title. Each year, the Office for Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging honors folks in the HKS community who have gone above and beyond in their efforts to provide an inclusive environment for everyone here at HKS. This particular award is given to 3 folks. We always honor a faculty, a staff, and a student. For community members who exemplify outstanding leadership and commitment to broadening diversity and inclusion at HKS through scholarship, initiatives, programs, and outreach. The very first award goes to a staff member. This particular individual, upon my onboarding, had the opportunity to work with and collaborate with in terms of different opportunities that we were offering. This particular person took time out of their day and their schedule to attend different workshops and opportunities that we were offering to be a part of the Kennedy School community, but to also know more about our students, to learn more about our staff and more about our faculty and what it meant to be an inclusive person here at the Kennedy School. This award goes to degree program member Michael Silvernail. Michael was here and may have had to leave me, but let's just give him a round of applause. The second award goes to a student. And this particular student, since Their onboarding here at the Kennedy School has constantly had me in amazement. I am in awe of how dedicated and focused that they are on a regular basis, how they give of themselves constantly without accolade, and how they constantly find themselves resilient and bouncing back in the face of all and any adversity. This award goes to MPP graduate Shaniqua McClendon.
Well, you are so tall. Oh no.
And the last of these awards goes to a faculty member. This particular faculty member, I have had loads of students come in and out of my office who can't speak enough about how tenacious they have been and how wonderful they have been during their time here. This particular person has absolutely no fear in getting up and making sure that we hold ourselves and everyone here accountable, and also has done the work, is not afraid to get their hands dirty, and I must say that I am in awe of them as well. This particular award goes to Dr. Khalil Muhammad. And I will say that Dr. Khalil Muhammad came without question. I just told him where to be and what to wear, and here he is. I am extremely thankful for friendship. And so this year, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and Belonging has added one last award. And this particular award is presented to a member of the Harvard Kennedy School community who embodies the institutional diversity mission by going above and beyond as an agent for change, and is constantly working to provide a safe, welcoming, and inclusive environment for all. This particular person also has me in awe, as if there's another word that I could use for all of you in this room. And I am in awe of their ability to continue their journey here at HKS and in the other degree that they were pursuing. No names, because it'll give it away. And I want to say that they were able to bounce back in what some folks may seem as impossible odds. I can't imagine having to go through the journey, being a student here and being a student somewhere else in the midst of what this particular person had to go through during their time here. And when they were looking for support, they came to particular parts of the HKS community to find that. And so in that midst and in that time and in that journey, I got to know this particular person, and all of you got to know this particular person in a very different way. And I'm so unbelievably proud to bring this particular person to the stage. This award goes to none other than Sahadar.
Hi, family.
Thank you so much. I'm supposed to go up next. Right. Look what you did to me. All right, I love you too. All right. I now have the honor to be introducing one of my dear friends and classmates to you all, Jonathan Lane, as this year's MPA 2 Class Day speaker. Jonathan is a master's in public administration candidate, graduating concurrently with an MBA from MIT Sloan School of Management. Originally from San Antonio, Texas, Jonathan spent 4 years in Latin America as an economic development advisor in the U.S. Peace Corps prior to pursuing graduate school. While at the Kennedy School, Jonathan has served as orientation leader for the MPA program, as well as co-editor-in-chief of the Harvard Kennedy School LGBTQ Policy Journal. With interests in urban development and economic advancement, Jonathan pursued internships in social impact lending, innovation ecosystems, and venture capital. He will be joining the New York City Economic Development Corporation after graduation. Please join me in welcoming Jonathan Lane. Knock him down.
So somewhere between the legendary MPA IHOP breakfast on Friday mornings and the long chats in Emma Heffern's office, I've wondered just how it is that we make this MPA 2 program work with so little structure. Certainly on the academic front, the MPA program team has it covered. What I'm more interested in is the part that is interpersonal. That's to say, for those of you that maybe aren't so familiar with the MPA 2 program, we have a lot of odds working against us in this idea of a single, unified, cohesive, harmonious MPA cohort. For instance, unlike many of our peers here at HKS, the MPAs weren't given the luxury of pre-selected course schedules in our first year, or the structure of Greek-lettered cohorts with whom we'd be certain to share stories and struggles in an entire year of common classes together. And demographically speaking, somewhere around 50% of us walk through this revolving door of a concurrent degree program, which sees us here this semester and gone the next, forcing strange split loyalties between schools and cities and many times even coasts. So this all kind of begs the question, with so many differences and so little in the way of structure, how is it that a ragtag crew like us ever managed to become the MPA family we are today? Bingo. The answer to this question is the very essence of what makes the MPA family so unique. See, at HKS, as MPAs, we are both selected and self-selected into this ambiguity. It is precisely the absence of structure and the organic grassroots initiative that arises from the ambiguity that makes what happens in our time here so deeply meaningful. Our experience always seems to start in a way reminiscent of something my witty Midwestern American grandmother always used to say: every generation leads itself to believe that it is the first to discover sex and alcohol. In my time at HKS, I've now seen 3 generations of MPAs rediscover another proverbial wheel: small group dinners, with an excited gaggle of MPAs carrying previous or concurrent graduate studies and programs from MBAs to MAs and JDs to PhDs. We arrive having already experienced at least a year at some other school. We come in and we repurpose and apply these outside best practices to this brave new ecosystem, creating spreadsheets and systems for how to maximize our exposure to the wealth of new voices around us, even if the concept of dinner is hardly in itself novel. Organizing these MPA small group dinners using a little self-made structure amidst theory chaos is perhaps our first small victory realized collectively. That said, this and other creative initiatives that follow, from roundtables and storytellers to retreats and beach trips, wine nights and heart-to-hearts, are more than mere spaces to structure what little free time we actually have. They become this core base of interpersonal confidence and of intellectual curiosity and of incredible connection that binds us all together. In such short time, our graduating MPA cohort came to witness the ambivalence of life together. We celebrated life's arrival, and we welcomed newborn members into the MPA family, especially los Latinos. We also mourned life's departure in ways unexpected and untimely, and for which none of us were fully prepared. Throughout the beauty and the pain, the meaningful and the seemingly tedious, the structure both self-imposed and non-existent, we managed not only to find each other, but to move together. Everyone here at the Kennedy School likes to remind us that the real world is actually a really messy place with intractable challenges and ambiguous answers where technical solutions may just be our only hope, or where they just may end up taking electoral backseats to emotional responses. To that I say, as MPAs, we get it. What we know well, by definition, is how to navigate outside guideposts and still manage to find the humanity beneath the investment mandates as much as the policy prescriptions. After our time in the MPA program, we are more informed and prepared to enter that messy world, and we are immensely richer for having been a part of this MPA family. I, for one, am grateful to have joined all of you, the graduating MPA cohort of 2018, in launching headfirst into this and into life's great creative uncertainty. Thank you.
Hard acts to follow. I'm Julie Wilson. I'm on the faculty, and I'm here to present 3 awards from the Malcolm Weiner Center and 2 awards from the Taubman Center. The Malcolm Weiner Awards are the Manuel Carballo, Susan Eaton, and Frederick Fisher Memorial Prizes, and the 2 urban awards, Taubman Awards, are Taubman Urban Center Awards. We received a lot of PAEs, SIPAs, case studies, essays, and research papers. You folks were busy this year. The submissions were reviewed by a committee of faculty members, researchers, staff members, and practitioners, and they tell us that the final selections were not easy because there were so many high-quality products this year. As I said, 3 of these awards are named in honor of someone who was an important person at the Kennedy School. I'll tell you a bit about each. Starting with the Manuel Carballo Award, or Manny Carballo as we knew him. Manny was a graduate of the Kennedy School's mid-career program. He held a number of high-level public service positions during his career, including director of the New York City Transportation Department, Secretary of Human Services in Massachusetts, Assistant Transportation Commissioner in New Jersey, and Director of the Wisconsin Department of Health and Social Services. He was also a member of our faculty. He was a serious public servant, committed to the poor, the vulnerable, and the public at large. And this award recognizes work related to the implementation, management, and evaluation of programs serving poor and disadvantaged populations in the U.S. Manny would have been very proud of the quality of work and the commitment of this year's winner, Maggie Salinger, for her work on preventing opioid misuse in Rhode Island. Is Maggie here? I don't know. Maggie's doing a concurrent degree at Emory. I'm not sure if she made it back. But let me tell you a little bit about what she did. Starting with the disturbing fact that of the opioids that are misused in a given year, 85% can be traced back to a prescription from a licensed provider. And given the challenges that providers face in managing pain, Maggie focused her analysis and policy recommendations on the unintended consequences of describing ever larger amounts of opioids, diverted prescriptions, improper storage, and failure to dispose of unused opioids. These opioids are then often sold or shared and are contributing to the high addiction and death rate. Drawing on behavioral economics, Maggie lays out a detailed set of recommendations for both physicians and patients and recommends that Rhode Island run a number of small experiments to test each one of these to see which would be the most likely, which would have the largest contributions to reducing the opioid crisis. Frederick Fisher was also an HKS alum, in this case of the school's MPP program, and a committed public servant who had particular concerns about the poor and disadvantaged in our society. This award honors Fred Fisher's memory and is presented for excellence in research on social policy topics, including criminal justice, inequality, economic and social mobility, poverty, education, immigration, and social services. This year, there are two winners, Rachel Lipson and Noah Stern. For their work on community colleges in California. I'm not sure if... Oh, okay, great. While they're making their way down, I will tell you a little bit about their PAE. California, not surprisingly, has the largest community college system in the nation and enrolls 30% of the state's 18 to 24-year-olds. If effective, the state's community college system could prepare students for well-paying jobs in the skilled service sector, moving many out of poverty and into the middle class. Rachel and Noah analyze the current community college situation and make a number of recommendations. Great. Okay. So let me tell you a few. They wrote this for the lieutenant governor, and he has a big agenda based on their work. More fully integrating work-based learning opportunities into student academic experience. Sounds like what they're trying to get the faculty at the Kennedy School to do. Support wraparound services for students through better integrating the community colleges with the state social services system, increasing partnerships with the private sector, and rethinking the state strategy for funding community colleges. Congratulations. That's great. There are two Taubman Center Urban Prizes this year. They recognize achievements in state and local urban policy, including economic development, workforce development, housing, transportation, education, social capital, child welfare, human services, government performance, and labor management relations. The first of these go to co-authors Alia Bataya and Miriam Keller for their work. Is Miriam here? While they're making their way, I will tell you, they focused on preserving what's called naturally occurring affordable housing, also known as NOAA. Learned a new term here today, in Metro Atlanta. So I'll tell you a bit about it, their work. Atlanta, like many cities, experienced a housing boom in the second half of the last century, and this now aging housing stock provides a great deal of affordable housing for the city's working class. But as the city's economy grows, this housing is increasingly being torn down and rebuilt or renovated and converted to high-income, high-rent properties. Gentrifying, in other words. Alia and Miriam examined how Atlanta could save the current stock of naturally occurring affordable housing, the NOAHs, and concluded that Atlanta needs to create 3 conditions in order to create a market for preserving this stock as affordable. Supporting mission-driven, nonprofit, and for-profit developers in identifying and competing for this housing stock, many of them are quite small, enabling them to access cheap, timely capital, and keeping ongoing operating costs modest and predictable. They recommended establishing a NOAA social impact fund, building the capacities of developers, particularly small ones, and creating a streamlined mechanism for property tax relief. It was an outstanding piece of work. Okay. The second Taubman Prize goes to Clay Holk. I don't know if Clay is here. For his work on getting home sooner, improving the quality and affordability of housing in Tulsa. Clay developed a strategy for increasing the amount of affordable housing in Tulsa, a city that has seen a relatively small increase in its overall housing stock over the last 2 decades. Growing numbers of substandard affordable housing units that are dropping out of the market, and increasing demand. Clay recommends more stringent code enforcement, creation of a local housing trust fund, and conversion of Tulsa's public housing units to voucherized properties under a federal demonstration program. Clay also details recommendations for the roles and responsibility of a new housing policy director the city will appoint, focusing on building close ties with local and tribal organizations, advocates, and others to create a coalition to collectively improve the city's housing market. And finally, the Susan Eaton Prize. Susan Eaton was a Harvard Kennedy School graduate and distinguished Kennedy School and Malcolm Wiener Center faculty member from 1993 to 2003. She was also a former union organizer and serious scholar of issues and research related to human resources management, the healthcare workforce, healthcare management, and quality issues, union leadership and labor, work-family policy, the aged population, and gender equity. The Susan Eaton Memorial Prize is awarded for excellence in a topic related to her work, and this year it goes to Alicia Bello. Your paper. So Alicia wrote a paper, Reforming Gatekeepers, Strategies for Advancing Women to the Highest Courts in Africa. In a detailed look at 3 countries selected to represent 3 different legal systems in Africa, Alicia assessed the variation in share of judges who are women and explored strategies for increasing their numbers. Her recommendations include relying more on examinations rather than appointments, appointing women to judicial positions earlier in their careers, imposing gender quotas, diversifying nominating commissions, and increasing the transparency of the judicial selection process. We are expecting big results from this. That was great. So congratulations to each of you and all of the rest of you for the work that you've done over your time here.
Hello, I'm Lant Pritchett, and I'm here with the head of the MPID program, Carol Finney, to give to give out 2 awards that emerged from the MPID program. The first is our second-year Policy Analysis Awards. It's our culminating capstone product in which we ask students to integrate theory, empirics, and real-world challenge around a real-world challenge and solve a problem that is constraining an important development client. This year we have 2 winners. The first is Carlos Guadarrama Gandara. I want to recognize the faculty that assisted in this, since I think they played some small role. William Hogan was his faculty advisor, and his section leader was Carmen Reinhardt. Carmen, his section leader, writes, energy experts around the world have their eyes on Mexico. The country's renewable energy auctions have broken global records for setting the lowest prices. Mexico has, on paper, the cheapest solar prices on the planet. And since 2016, 3 auctions have awarded 36 solar projects. However, and this is the problem, only 1 plant has actually started operation, while the others are delayed or are actually looking to back out of their contracts, as the awarded firms have been unable to actually carry out the necessary construction, and without them they can't take advantage of these auctions. Carlos's work then delves into the key challenges the awarded firms have faced in different parts of Mexico. The analysis is careful when comparing different levels of institutional structure and contrasts the Mexican experience with other parts of the world. The arguments are well documented, persuasive and nuanced. The policy recommendations present different options for assisting municipal groups, as well as for changing the design of the auctions. The study should be quite helpful to the policy audience. Our second Outstanding SIPE Award winner is Nariksha Shetty. Her faculty advisor was Ji Bai, who is a brand new faculty, and I'm very pleased that she got right into advising an award winner, which we faculty actually compete on this. And her section leader was Michael Walton. Her section leader, Michael Walton, explains Nakrita's SIPA concerns how to design policies to help women entrepreneurs not just start, but scale up. This is an important issue in India, as employment in the formal employment sector is very small and has not been growing very robustly as it will need to grow in order to accommodate the growing labor force. Nariksha does a superb job of applying theory, quantitative analysis, and large-scale surveys, along with in-depth qualitative fieldwork to develop a coherent account of the different barriers to scaling that women entrepreneurs face. She then designs 2 potential policy interventions: group-based entrepreneurship via marketing cooperatives to leverage access to markets, strengthen networks and achieve economies of scale, and mobile phone-based information campaigns to provide business support and access to networks to individual women entrepreneurs. Especially commendable is the attention to design specifics, notably around how to select and find potentially transformative entrepreneurs and explore the effective interventions with varying degrees of intensity. This is then complemented by an implementation process that allows for systematic rapid prototyping, followed by in-depth impact assessment. All right. Our second award also has 2 winners, and it's the Raymond Vernon Award. The Raymond Vernon Award is named for Raymond Vernon, who was a member of the faculty here and has played a key role in some of the founding structures of the world we live in. He played a role in the Marshall Plan, he played a role in the development of the International Monetary Fund and the GATT, and he was a professor here and represents the values of active engagement. The recipients of the Raymond Vernon Award were nominated by their classmates as best representing the values of the MPID program. The first winner is Mohammed Kudadad Chata. He is a graduate of LUMS before coming to HKS and worked with LUMS. I love LUMS. Worked with the government of Pakistan at the Federal Board of Revenue before coming to HKS. I'd like to read from some of the nominators' comments. One of his classmates wrote, quote, "His commitment to improving the lives of Pakistanis is admirable. Before coming to HKS, he gave up a well-paid job at a multinational corporation to work in the civil service, helping increase tax revenues for the government. In the face of substantial bureaucratic hurdles, his academic excellence is clear, and his good nature and caring friendship have shown him to be a wonderful citizen of the MPID class. After graduation, Kudadad plans to return to Pakistan and rejoin the civil service." The second recipient of this year's Raymond Vernon Award is Carolyn Fowlert. Carolyn graduated from Northwestern. She worked at Boston Consulting Group and as a consultant for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She joined the MPID program in 2017, and you can, with the class of 2017, that is, and she's not slow. She also completed 2 masters, completing them not only the MPID, but also the degree from across the river. The one that's not BU, by the way. In her own classmates' words, "I am certain that without Caroline's presence, our class would not have been as cohesive or strongly tied together. From month 1 of our time together, she stepped up to take leadership role and organize our class to ensure an academically, socially, and professionally smooth and inclusive experience for everyone." Another nominator wrote, "I believe Carolyn is the true exemplar of the values of the MPID program. She is moving to Manila with her family and foregoing a lucrative consulting offer from across the river. She is known as the person most likely to disagree with you in a way that makes her respect her more. And I think this perfectly sums up who Carolyn is and her future leadership. After graduation, she plans to move to Manila, Philippines to work as the country manager for Care.com. Congratulations."
Hello, my name is Kevin Leiby from the graduating MPID class, and it's my pleasure on behalf of our class to introduce Mariana Oseguera. So, before coming to the Kennedy School, Mariana worked for the Central Bank in Mexico, but as a testament to her wide-ranging passions and talents, she wrote her SIPA on the connection between skin color and discrimination in her native country. I have one piece of advice for the world, which is to never underestimate Mariana, especially because of her stature. You'll really meet anyone with so much verve and so much power packed into one person. We're very excited to see where she goes in the world and to hear about it over glasses of wine. So now, let's welcome Mariana.
MPIDs, congratulations, we did it. Family and friends, thank you for being here. We wouldn't have done this without you. Saying goodbye to each other will be for sure the hardest thing we will ever have to do. The MPIDs have become a strong family. We have studied together, we have laughed together, we even fought with each other. And now, everything is coming into an end. What were these 2 years all about? Let me take you back to the first day of school. During that day, our professor, Lan Pritchett, told us that the MPID program was going to feel like going into a dark, dark tunnel. And many of us said, my God, is this guy being dramatic or what? It turns out he wasn't. So, let me take you into this tunnel. At the beginning, everything was very technical. Something about a half circle, a line in the middle. It's called quasi-concavity. Then we learned why you shouldn't get haircuts in developed countries. Some of us even learned how to do it ourselves. Like, just look at my hair. Then there was something about a guy called Robinson Crusoe. He had some coconuts. But I'm pretty sure there was also a man called Dan Levy, our statistics professor, and he was going to find each of us in an airport and ask us the key important facts of statistics. It got very confusing. But stepping out of the tunnel and looking back, we can see how the technical skills we have acquired have made us better in analyzing super complex questions, such as, at what time should I arrive to a party, given the ratio of Latino MPIDs attending? But enough of the technical. We also learn other things. So please come through the tunnel one more time with me. We also learn how to make amazing presentations. From Jeff Frankel, you learn which pictures to pick. From teapots to Lord of the Rings. Michael Walton taught you how to breathe through a presentation. And from Land, actually you heard it, whenever you want to say something that the audience might take a little bit harshly, just add a little giggle at the end, and then everybody will take it perfectly. But we also learned about context, and that we didn't learn from books or from a professor. We learned it from each other. From Jimena from Peru, Isidro from Argentina, and Sharon from Zimbabwe, we learned how it feels to live under hyperinflation, and why, given this, we have to tackle it. From Rafa from Ghana, we learned how the structure of land property rights can affect agricultural development. So yes, stepping out of the tunnel again, we can see why context matters. And remember this, listen to the people that you work with, and most importantly, listen to the people that you work for, because more often than not, they will teach you more than an equation will ever say. We also have to place ourselves in the times that we live in. So bear with me one more time and come back through the tunnel one last time. After the US elections, we have seen from Muslim bans to the scrapping of international agreements. At the same time, we saw women rise to the occasion and fill the streets with their voices. However, in most of our countries, women still struggle to do that. They are sometimes even afraid to walk on the streets by themselves. In Latin America, we keep fighting against corruption and bad policies, while African and Asian farmers battle every day against climate change. And Syrian and Palestinians are still fighting for their basic human rights. We actually don't have to go that far away. Here, blacks, Muslim, Jewish, Latinos face racism every day, in these streets, in this century. These are causes we all care about. And after taking you in this journey 3 times with me, I want to leave you with this. Whichever technical tools you choose to use, whatever context you choose to work in, or whatever specific cause you choose to fight for, remember that what brought us together was fighting for what we believe in. So, whenever you're in an airport, don't be afraid to find a Dan Levy. But be eager to find an MPID. Find an MPID, tell them what you think, share ideas, listen to them, and then go back to your fight. And be sure that wherever you are, you're not alone. We are all fighting with you. Thank you.
Laura's here. Laji, are you here somewhere? We are missing a co-chair. Hi everyone, I'm Nick Butts. And together with Janina and Laura and Laji, who is somewhere coming down anytime now, we are here to, on behalf of the graduating class of Howard Kennedy School 2018, present the school and Dean Elmendorf with the 2018 class gift. Many of you have supported the class gift in essentially to use it to those of you family or friends from abroad who don't know what this is. Very briefly, the class gift is money that the graduating class raises to extend our own amazing experience here and improve it to next year's students. And so students raise money for financial aid, stipends for unpaid internships to support PAEs. Many of you have seen a lot of them win awards here today, for student journals, for student conferences, and most importantly, quorum call. This year we've done two things differently. First of all, we allowed students to dedicate their donation within specific categories. And the number one category that received the most donations from the student body is financial aid, underscoring the need for the school to continue its work to improve access and financial support for global leaders around the world to come here to study at HKS. And secondly, and the second most supported category is all because of Laura White. Laura worked very hard to have included diversity as a category within this year's class gift. And more than 25 of you who gave to the class gift have donated and asked that diversity is your choice of support, underscoring to the school, I think, that the student body and the graduating class this year really cares about and would like to see increased opportunity, increased representation, and increased focus on diversity issues.
This year, we raised the highest amount of money with the highest number of donors in recorded history. The class of 2018 had over 300 donors and raised, reveal here, $21,525. Dean Elmendorf, we present to you the 2018 graduating class gift.
Thank you, and thanks to all of you very much.
Yes. Thank you for the rest of our committee members, Neil's panel and Asset. We couldn't have done it without you, the success that we've achieved today. And thank you for the class of 2018 for being engaged and contributing and valuing the HKS community. We couldn't have done this as well. So we look forward to the rest of graduation and being lifelong engaged alumni. Thank you.
Thank you all very much who contributed to this gift, and we will put it to the purposes for which you intend it. Our next item is the Dean's Award for Excellence in Student Teaching. We give this award to course assistants and teaching fellows who were nominated by the students in the classes that those students took. And we give this award to recognize the importance of student teachers in the learning process here at the Kennedy School. This is the 23rd year of these awards, which Joe and I began. The nominations show that outstanding course assistants and teaching fellows have great knowledge of the subject matter, the ability to make difficult material comprehensible to students from a wide array of backgrounds, a true commitment to teaching, and an accessibility to their students in their classes. The teaching fellows and course assistants we are honoring today meet all of these qualifications and more. They have shown tremendous dedication to their roles, exceptional talent in explaining material, and humor and grace in their work. Before announcing the recipients, I'd like to recognize the work of the members of the Academic Affairs Committee who handled the nomination and selection process. Demelia Aitkozina, Sahar Kazranian, and Nadia Niven. And thanks very much to them for their help. This committee chose the award winners from nearly 75 nominations. The comments I will make about the honorees come from the words of their students as written in these nominations. Each honoree will receive a certificate that reads the Dean's Award for Excellence in Student Teaching.
in recognition of your extraordinary commitment to students and faculty in your role as a course assistant or teaching fellow. Your accessibility, energy, and talent for making difficult subject matter transparent contributed markedly to the Kennedy School community and to helping students learn. Along with the certificate, each recipient will receive a check for $150. We have 5 honorees today. If I call your name, please come up and join me here and stay here on the podium until every one of the 5 has been called. We ready? Our first recipient is Asset Abdullayev. Asset was the course assistant for DPI 330A, The Making of a Politician. In the words of one nominator, quote, Asset consistently went the extra mile, developing personal relationships with us and pushing us to grow and develop. Another nominator raved, Asset was inspiration to many of us in the class. He was supportive of our goals and always was there to help us with any issues. Without his steadfast leadership, our class would not have been as successful as it was. Asset, congratulations and thank you. Our next recipient is Howard Cohen, course assistant for MLD 831, Entrepreneurship and Innovation in the Private and Social Sectors. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. In the words of one nominator, Howard is always sharing his experience. He was of a great help during and outside class. And a second student noted, when I noticed one of the class guests was someone I wanted to connect with, Howard worked it out in a few hours to ensure that I would have an opportunity to speak with this guest. Howard, thank you. Congratulations. Our next recipient is Diana Goldenberg. Diana was a teaching fellow for API 109, Advanced Microeconomic Analysis 1. One nominator lauded her as, quote, the most important factor in my learning of microeconomics and honestly of any subject in the first semester. In the words of another nominator, Diana really cared about her learning and was able to explain really abstract concepts in microeconomic theory in the most clear way possible. She's also the most caring TF I have met. Diana, thank you very much. Congratulations. And our next recipient is Mitchell Watt. Mitchell was a teaching fellow for API 101, Markets and Market Failure, API 303, Game Theory and Strategic Decisions, and API 102, Economic Analysis of Public Policy. Did you take any classes here? Or just One nominator said, Mitch has gone above and beyond to provide clear explanations for lessons in a way that helps us to retain knowledge. Another nominator noted Mitch would engage students however he could, whether through Canvas, email, or providing additional study and review material. Mitchell, thank you so much. Congratulations. And today's final recipient chosen by the selection committee is James Brandt, teaching fellow for DPI 201, The Responsibilities of Public Action. James was unable to be here today. One nominator said of him, James was a thoughtful, caring, talented, responsive, all-around superb TF. He would get so excited about the things he was teaching that it would be infectious and stimulate our classroom discussions. So James, thank you very much, and congratulations, and thanks and congratulations to all of you.
Hi, my name's Emma Heffern. I'm director of MPA programs here, and we have a couple of awards for our programs. The first is the Don K. Price Award. The award was established in honor of Don Price, Dean of the Kennedy School from 1958 to 1977, and one of the architects of the school in its modern incarnation. Don Price was a vice president of the Ford Foundation in 1958 when he was asked to take over as dean and lead this institution to become the premier graduate school of public service. Price responded to this challenge by working to develop a full-time faculty, a new and more professionally oriented curriculum, and integration of the real world of politics, public policy, and management into the core of the school's mission. Today, we honor 2 MPA students with the Don K. Price Award. This award is given to outstanding members of the graduating MPA class who both excelled academically and made a significant positive contribution to the Kennedy School community. A committee of faculty and staff reviewed the nominations by peers as well as the academic and community contributions of graduating students and selected the following students as this year's winners. I'm proud to say that this year's Don K. Price Awards go to Janina Sidoro Soto, and Sahar Ali Dar. I'd like to share a few examples of the positive contributions they have made to the Kennedy School community during their time here. These are from the nominations that were submitted. They organized study groups, conferences, treks, class-wide trips, retreats, and events. They brought difficult conversations forward that helped our community grow and learn. They are dedicated to others and helped classmates develop a sense of belonging. They served a number of leadership roles, including as orientation leader and grad marshal, 2 difficult jobs. They participated thoughtfully in classes, and the nominations describe them as representing the best of public service at HKS, as the glue that holds our class together, the heart of the 2018 MPA family, and as an anchor for our MPA community. In the midst of all these activities, Janina and Sahar truly excelled academically, taking a rigorous set of courses and ending this experience with stellar academic performance. It's been such a pleasure to work with you both and get to know you during your time here. You're really going to be missed. So thank you for making a difference in this community, and we look forward to hearing of your successes in the years to come.
Thank you both. Oh, it's pictures there. Maybe you can stand in between us. Thank you, guys. And I have some more. The idea of a School of Public Affairs at Harvard was born on the eve of World War II. As the U.S. government grappled with historic challenges, both domestic and international, Harvard alumnus and New York Congressman Lucius N. Littauer backed his vision of a school for a new professional governing class with an unprecedented $2 million gift, which was then the largest single gift from an individual donor ever given to a university. Mr. Littauer made a contribution in his lifetime that still lives on today through the mid-career program. Today we honor 9 mid-career MPA students as Lucius N. Littauer Fellows. These awards are given to members of the graduating mid-career class who both excelled academically and made a significant positive contribution to the Kennedy School community. Again, a committee of faculty and staff reviewed nominations and the academic and community contributions of graduating students and selected the following 9 students. I'll call all names, so please come up together. Jessica Ostenheiler. Morgan Stevens Brown. Elizabeth McCoy Cowan. Cameron Marcellus Lindsay. Mariano Pablo Machado.
Niels Planell. John Michael Shirt. Dina Sharif. And Carolina Zambrano Barragan. They performed outstandingly in the curricula they chose to pursue this year. They took rigorous courses and they excelled, often going outside subject areas in which they were already comfortable. But the spirit of this award is about going beyond academics, and this group did so much to promote unity, create community and connections, both within their class, but also between classes and programs and with the wider HKS community. I'd like to share a few comments from the nominations. Their classmates wrote that these students worked tirelessly to build bridges and networks and facilitate conversations. They have truly listened and made space for other voices to be heard, supported others and lent a helping hand, showed care, empathy, and positivity, advocated for civility, compassion, engagement, and respectful discourse, introduced new ways of thinking, and worked relentlessly to create a sense of community in the cohort. They organized and presented at the weekly mid-career seminar series, organized community events, acted as leaders behind the scenes, served as elected class representatives and in leadership roles in the student government and in various roles in committees and as teaching assistants. They supported student parents and families at HKS and collaborated on efforts around families and gender issues. They were elected to serve as grad marshals. And in addition to all the community involvement, this year several of them were balancing this with partners and children. On that note, we are so grateful to the families for your support and encouragement this year. Your students couldn't have done it without you. It's my honor to present the recipients of the 2018 Lucius Littauer Fellowship Awards. Thank you for making a difference in the community, and we look forward to hearing of the contributions you'll make in the lives of many in the years to come. Congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Antina Lee, a proud member of the MPA class and a class marshal. Earlier this year, we lost a dear classmate and dear friend of ours, Gozi. And during his time at HKS, Gozi touched many lives. I'd like to ask Aaron Collette, a fellow member of the MPA class, to come now and share a few words about Gozi.
We've shared a lot of happy memories here at HKS, but we also faced tragedy together when just a few months ago we lost Gozi too early. And I know it's a shared sentiment among many of you when I say it's still a struggle not having him here today. Especially today, as the end of our journey approaches and the new opportunities that lie on our horizon come into view, Gozi should have been here with us, getting excited about that new adventure, not just for himself, but for every single person here. As we head into the working world, I will miss Gozi especially as we shared a vision for a future career and dreamed of those next steps together. The plan was for Gozi to pursue a job in Africa and me in Asia, and one day we'd work together on a global scale. When Gozi passed, that dream of his, next steps, was just taking shape, but I could already see his drive and enthusiasm building towards success. Gozi wore a lot of hats in life and here at HKS. He was strongly passionate about the Africa Caucus and worked for the Africa Policy Journal. And on a more lighthearted note, he was probably the DJ at least half of the events that you attended. But he was not just the roles that he played and the jobs that he had. His CV was full of great companies and incredible achievements. But to understand his quality as a person, all you had to do was to have a small interaction with Gozi in order to see the enthusiasm and love that he brought to every single moment and relationship. Even something as simple as a text message was filled with positivity. Last night, I stayed up late reading through texts Gozi sent me, and what struck me was how clearly his warmth came through. I wanted to share one exchange we had that I think underlines some of his humor as well as some of his best attributes as a friend. It was a few months ago, and I was getting ready for an interview, and I was nervous. But then I checked my text messages, and it was like Gozi had read my mind. Because waiting in my inbox was the following message. Bruv, smack me. Completely forgot about your interview till just now. Good thing I'm not worried, though. The spirits keep shaking in my bones for you. It's yours. It's impossible not to feel confident going into an interview with a text message like that. I got into the next round of interviews, and that next message he sent me was, bro, my bones tingling out the roof. I feel like an army wife. Gonna pray for you today. Keep faith. You've put in the work. And then finally, when I got the job, he said, let's go, bro. You persisted, persevered, and I told you it was yours. Bro Sidon, which is what he liked to call me. It is time. It is done. Time to pop bottles. In those texts alone, Gozi's uplifting spirit shines through. His humor, selflessness, and support for his fellow man. Everything came from the heart with Gozi. After reading those texts last night, I wondered to myself, what did I do to deserve a friend so good? We were all lucky to have him to be a part of our HKS lives, and I think it's fitting that he's receiving a community honor certificate today. It's been difficult grieving for Gozi, but one of the few silver linings of the grieving process that I found solace in is seeing how many communities of people Gozi influenced and how many he created and how he was able to create families out of those communities. I am honored that HKS had the privilege of being one of Gozi's last communities, and I know he felt that he had a family here. So as we go on and celebrate in the coming days, I think it's important to remember to hold a part of Gozi with us. I now know what he means when he described that tingling feeling in his bones, because I still feel Gozi in my spirit and in my bones today. And I hope we all take with him as we cross the finish line of our grad school experience in the coming days. I'd now like to call on the dean to come up and present a certificate to Gozi's family and then hand over the mic to them for a few words.
Thank you. I was told I have 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So let me not get carried away. Thank you. I wanted to give you a little background for 60 seconds. So I'm going to divide it into 3 sets of 60 seconds. First 60 seconds, how it all started. My mother, right here, we've watched her from the age of about 4 years old dedicate her life to all the villagers, hometowners, locals, back home in Nigeria, where we're from. She came all the way to the United States, went to Georgetown, worked in real estate, worked in the medical field in the US, but that wasn't it. She's gone back full circle and is doing the same thing that we've watched her from when we were born. She is still donating, contributing, and working hard every day, not just for us, her children, but for hundreds of children back in Nigeria every single day. Second, 60 seconds, family. We were brought up in a family that we were taught to think outside ourselves. Every home we've lived, people have come and lived in that house with us. And when we were young, we always wondered why. Like, these are not our cousins, our brothers or sisters, so why is he in my room? I'm 35 now. I have my own wife and 2 kids. And I now realize what she was doing all this while. Gozi didn't come to HKS just because he wanted to learn how to do this. That's who he was. That's who we've been. He loved coming here. He came in on like Fridays to DC. I'll hang out with him and he's like, I got to go back to school. I'm like, why? Do you have any exam? He's like, nah, I got to go back to my other brothers. I'm like, which other brothers? Who are these brothers? I've never met these brothers. I'm your brother. Why are you running back? You have no exam, you have no paper left. He's like, I got to go back. He loved coming here. And today, as I come here, I see why. The flags, the culture, the diversity, this feels like home. The third thing, third set of 60 seconds, is 3 L's I was going to share. Not only do these L's remind us of Gozi, but it's just something I just feel like I have to leave behind. If Gozi was here, Gozi would say, Ike, go ahead, just drop it. I sat on that seat wondering, should I say it? Should I say it? Would it make sense? Would it be as strong as that lady's speech over there? Like, oh my God. But I'm going to say it anyway. One is love. Be obsessed with loving everyone. Be obsessed about it. There's a lot of evil in our world, a lot of confusion. But be obsessed to fight it with love. Don't fight it back with evil. Love yourself obsessively. Love your friends obsessively. Love your family obsessively. Don't think twice when it's time to help out. That's love. 2, laughter. Gozi and I, every Friday, sent each other, we decided that laughing was important in life. It's important to laugh. You guys are going to go out in this world and face tremendous, I'm from Nigeria, so I've had my fair share of like tremendous struggle and a country that you ask yourself, what is that? Who does that to 1 million people? Who does that to hundreds of millions of people? And it just keeps going on. You guys are going to have a lot of work to do in this world to eradicate the evils, to go through the difficulties. So Gozi and I had one little trick that I'm going to share with you guys. Every Friday, we YouTubed ourselves a link of a comedian on YouTube, whether it was Kevin Hart's joke, whether it was Seinfeld, whatever it was. And it was our way of scheduling laughter. So every Friday, we had to laugh. So I was challenged because sometimes I'm scrolling through and I've already shared this video, I need a new one, I need a fresh one. And when I throw one to him, I'm looking at my text message waiting for him to be like, rolling on the floor laughing. I'm like, yes, you got him. But whenever I sent him a link and then he sent me a funnier link, I'm like, oh man, he got me. But every week we laughed. Every week we laughed. And if everywhere you guys go, you fight to laugh every week, it won't feel that difficult anymore. Whether you're fighting in Pakistan, India, Africa, South America, just laugh every week. And the last thing I'm going to say is the little things. There was a day Gozi asked me to send him $50. And I sent it to him at about 12 o'clock. And then he called me back again at 3. Can you send another $50? I'm like, what did you do with the first $50? He said, I promised a friend of mine I was going to buy him a burrito that he loves. And I gave him a gift card for the burrito. And those are the little things. Driving on the street, seeing somebody that needs help on the side of the road, a woman dropping her bag and everything spills out, a guy holding a bunch of papers walking through campus and his papers fly out of his hands. What do? Do we let him keep going, or do we help him catch all the pieces of paper on the road and give it to him? Because that guy might be writing something that might save the world tomorrow. Who knows? Little things like all the women I'm seeing getting all the awards on this stage, and they've not had the round of applause that they deserve. So please give them all the round of applause that they deserve. And the standing ovation that they deserve. Because seeing all these women from different parts of the world makes me feel like the world's going to be a better place after all. What are we complaining? Like, why is everybody saying that women have something wrong? No. In this room, I realized that, guys, we are in trouble. So without further ado, thank you. From me, my family, my mother thanks you very much. Honoring Gozi was very important to us. And Mom, you got your wish. She came to a Harvard graduation. So we're here till Thursday. We're celebrating with you guys. We're not mourning. We're celebrating because Gozi really graduated. He graduated from life to the next step. So thank you very much.
My name is Morgan Brown. I'm one of the class marshals for the Mid-Career Masters in Public Administration program. It is my tremendous honor to introduce our final cohort speaker of the day, Claire de Guzman Amador. Claire comes from a family of public servants, and she has worked her entire career in the public sector in the Philippines, rising to be Deputy Minister in the Department of Budget and Management. Claire will be returning to the Philippines following her time here at the Kennedy School, where she has graced us with her humor. Graduating students and distinguished guests, please join me in welcoming Claire de Guzman Amador.
In the past year, I tried to be invisible. And we all have that story when we want to disappear because of burnout, or a broken heart, or when we just want to avoid people. Eventually, though, you are seen, and then you remember you are not alone. That there are people who are on the same boat as you, who are just as crazy as they are kind, who are as brilliant but also confused, and very, very human. And when you need it, a village will come running to your rescue. The mid-career story is full of spectacular failures and epic victories. Since June, we have been through a lot. Initially, it was hard to make friends, being grown-ups as we are, but it has been amazing to be surrounded by extraordinary people from all over the globe. We may have distanced ourselves from the MPPs because they remind us of who we were, young and energetic. That hit you, yeah. The MPIDs remind us of who we are not. Quad geniuses right there. And sometimes we wish we could be the MPAs because they can stay longer. We joke that we did not have PAE or SAIPA because our scars were enough. What we don't say is how our scars mark our victories. The governance reforms we did back home, little girls saved from human trafficking. The breakthroughs in cybersecurity and journalism, the newborns and the new love we welcome this year, and how we survived death threats and torture. We have worked for prime ministers and presidents, give or take 10 or 20 years. Some of us are gonna hold those jobs too. We are here. We wrote papers while running organizations, getting married, raising kids, dealing with fake news in our cohort and our countries. We joined parties and potlucks. We fought and made peace. We lowered our guards, opened our hearts, and shared our dreams. We have been inspired by our professors, our conversations, the people we've met, but we've also been disappointed. We have been scarred by the bidding system, by the need for more diversity. Sometimes we were disappointed by ourselves, sometimes by each other. We emerged with more scars, but also with more hope, because our story does not end here. Once we're out there, the challenges and expectations will be much, much greater. Higher chances for frustration, disappointment, failure. But today we are prepared. When the system says we are not good enough, oh, no, we know we are. We survived. We survived even when we thought we wouldn't. We lived through war, disaster, discrimination, cancer. We constantly wrestle with the loss of faith. We struggled with the loss of loved ones. I lost a mentor. Our class lost a mother, a father, a brother, classmate, and friend. We rose from being judged, dismissed, attacked. And yes, we all passed quant, some with flying colors. A year ago, I came here with so much fear. Now I'm leaving with more uncertainty. But one thing is clear. I am now less afraid. The spirit of the mid-career is relentless. Scarred, yet inspired. Ambitious, but grounded in service. Even in fear, we dance. Sometimes we get exhausted because we're getting old, but we rise to the occasion. And today we have accomplished the mission that will launch all other missions. We are going to create the world we want for our families and our communities. It's time. It's time to go back. It's time to go back and fight our battles. We might fail again and again and again, but in the end, we will win. Remember, as we leave, to anchor yourself in the love that surrounds you, like what we have right here, right now. After today, in our own ways, we will have each other's backs. We don't have to disappear. We don't have to be invisible, not anymore. We can be the village that imagines and moves with the good that we can do together. The village that believes in each other in spite of ourselves. The village that rescues, argues, and sings karaoke together. We got this. We got each other. Congratulations to us, my fellow mid-careers, and to the class of 2018. Maraming salamat.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Brewski, and I'm a class marshal for the MPP class of 2018. It is my honor to continue the spirit of celebration today by recognizing a group woven into the fabric of our Kennedy School, the faculty. Our first presentation is the Advisor of the Year Award, which is given to an advisor, either formal or informal, to recognize their superior mentorship and positive impact on the student experience. In their nominations, students shared that the passion for mentorship and the development of his advisees came through in every conversation they had with this year's winner. Noted one student, quote, "His counsel throughout my time at HKS was invaluable. He patiently worked with me by email and in person on strategically designing a personalized course schedule every semester." End quote. Said one more, quote, "My Harvard experience was made so much richer for having him as my advisor." While I was not involved in the selection for this award, I feel so privileged to present it because I know firsthand how richly it is deserved. As my advisor, this year's winner listened to me in ways that few others at Harvard ever had. His mentorship focused not only on the requirements that I had to fulfill to graduate from this school, but also on the life that I would lead and the person that I would become once I did. So please join me in congratulating the 2018 Harvard Kennedy School Advisor of the Year, the George F. Baker Jr. Professor of Public Sector Management, Herman Dutch Leonard.
This is a total surprise. So I want to thank all my advisees. But more, I wanted to say something to the families here. There is no higher privilege that we have as teachers than to teach the amazing men and women that you sent to us. So I want to thank the parents, the brothers and sisters, the people who sent their moms and dads. I want to ask all the students here to join me in thanking the families for making what we all did here possible. Thank you. Thank you.
It is now my privilege to present the Carballo Teaching Award, given to a faculty member who has demonstrated an exceptional commitment to students and to the learning experience, and who has also demonstrated excellence in teaching. The Carballo Award has been presented annually since 1984 and is the most prestigious teaching award at the Harvard Kennedy School. The nominations that we received this year from students for their faculty were so overwhelming in number, so personal in character, and so moving in content that the class marshals have agreed to present the award this year to two different outstanding individuals. Just wait. Our first recipient is a practitioner, economist, and scholar of religion and politics. One nominator described him as, quote, the most tremendous professor I learned from in my time at HKS. His knowledge, graciousness, and accessibility were the absolute model a student hopes for in a professor, and I am privileged and touched to be able to call myself a student of his, end quote. Wrote a different student, quote, his teaching changed my life. He helped me understand the religion-political landscape of the United States, and he made me realize what it means to engage in respectful dialogue and civil disagreement about contentious issues, end quote. Over his 25 years of service at HKS, this recipient has become an institution unto himself, whose high quality of teaching already once earned him the Carballo Teaching Award. This year, the class marshals felt moved to honor him yet again for the way he overcame acute medical adversity to embody exceptional commitment to students and the learning experience. Wrote one nominator, despite the repeated challenges he had with his eyesight over the course, despite personal pain or discomfort, he still held classes. He always put us first, insisting that we were the ones who were inconvenienced. A different student summed it up this way: as his vision got worse, my vision became sharper. So please join me in congratulating our first recipient of the 2018 Carballo Teaching Award, Lecturer in Public Policy and Senior Fellow of the Shorenstein Center, Richard Parker. While our first award could be seen as a capstone, the second should serve as a welcome. Our second recipient of the 2018 Carballo Teaching Award came to Harvard Kennedy School in 2016 after directing the world's leading archive of global Black history. I see you guys read the teacher resumes. His scholarship examines the broad intersections of race, democracy, inequality, and criminal justice in modern United States history. One of his nominations read, quote, his course affected me more than any other I took in my 2 years at HKS by teaching me how to incorporate history into effective policymaking, by forcing me to question my biases and assumptions, and instilling in me a sense of responsibility that I will carry with me throughout my career, end quote. Another wrote that he, quote, goes above and beyond the call of duty as an educator. Every class section was worthy of a standing ovation. A third wrote, quote, when I leave the Kennedy School, I will strive to listen as charitably as this professor has to me, to challenge white supremacy within myself and in the institutions within my sphere of power, and to always ask what I can do to flip unjust systems on their heads. Please join me in congratulating our second recipient of the 2018 Carballo Teaching Award, Professor of History, Race, and Public Policy, and the Suzanne Young Murray Professor at the Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Studies, Khalil Gibran Mohammed.
Good afternoon. I'm Debbie Isaacson. I'm the Senior Associate Dean for Degree Programs and Student Affairs, and it's terrific to see all of you. I promise we are nearly done. Almost there. I did want to just take a minute to reflect on how great a walk through memory lane this last afternoon has been. It's given you such a nice illustration of the arc of experience that our students have had. So for our students, I hope that you've enjoyed yourself. And for our families and other guests, I hope this gives you just the teeniest little window into what the experience is here and what it's like for your loved one to be here with us for a year or two or more. So thank you for all that. It's now my pleasure to award the Robert F. Kennedy Award for Excellence in Public Service, which is presented to a graduating Kennedy School student or students whose commitment, activities, and contributions to public service are truly extraordinary. This year, we actually have two fantastic award recipients. All right. The first is a graduating student in our Master in Public Policy program, Colin Killick. Colin just said to me, "Are you sure this wasn't a typo?" Which is perhaps the nicest testament to how perfectly suited he is for this award. Colin is an unwavering advocate for disability rights. He came to the Kennedy School having already developed a very impressive advocacy background. Just prior to coming here, he worked as an advocate for the Disability Policy Consortium for 2 years. While he was there, he co-led a campaign that won more than $1 million in new funding to provide housing to low-income disabled people. And he founded the Massachusetts Alliance of Disability Commissions to promote grassroots advocacy. He has also, since 2013, served as chair of the Somerville Commission for Persons with Disabilities. That commitment didn't waver when Colin arrived here at the Kennedy School. While here, his commitment to disability rights and his ability, frankly, to transcend our decentralized culture has really transformed the landscape here. He founded and led the Disability Justice Caucus, which has raised the level of awareness and understanding of issues from disability in public service to mental health in the criminal justice system. The caucus also helped support a new disability law and policy course and advocated for better representation of disability perspectives in the MPP core ethics course. His impact was not, however, limited just to the HKS campus. In fact, Colin made connections with other disability justice advocates from across Harvard University and created the Alliance for Disability Action. This is a platform from which he and others rallied around the hiring of a new employee within the University Disability Services Office, and they regularly ensure that this important topic stays on the agenda for the university as a whole. One of his nominators noted, quote, "Colin has spent a large part of his graduate school career making the Harvard Kennedy School a place where students and visitors with disabilities feel welcomed, respected, and are able to reach their full potential." That same nominator goes on to note that, quote, "Colin has also created opportunities for non-disabled students to learn more about the challenges that students with disabilities face." Following graduation, Colin will be joining the Disability Policy Consortium as Deputy Director. We have no doubt that he will continue to have an important impact there. For all of these reasons, it is my great pleasure to award Colin Killick with our first RFK Award. But wait, there's more. Our second recipient of the Robert F. Kennedy Award for Excellence in Public Service is Master in Public Policy candidate Shaniqua McClendon. Shaniqua truly embodies the spirit and tenacity of public service. She's been a public servant for the entirety of her professional life to date. While at the University of North Carolina, she served extensively at the Ronald McDonald House and was the community service chair for the University of North Carolina Black Alumni Club. By her senior year there, she was elected president of the UNC's Black Students Organization. And upon graduation, she served in the office of Congresswoman Alma Adams. While on the Hill in Washington, D.C., Shaniqua volunteered with multiple service organizations in the D.C. area because she wasn't satisfied with the passion and the fulfillment that her day job was giving her, which for many of us would have been plenty. She volunteered at Empower, the High Tea Society, and the Inroads Alumni Association, investing heavily in youth development, mentoring, and tutoring of local teens. After witnessing firsthand the impact of policy on the lives of struggling African and American families more generally, Shaniqua brought her experience and knowledge base here to the Kennedy School. She is that rare individual who possesses an intense focus, the inherent ability to motivate others, and to do all of this as a force for change in a quiet manner of leadership. Her time here has been remarkable. She's organized and moderated panels for the Black Policy Conference. She was instrumental in bringing different keynote speakers here to the school to lead crucial conversations about African Americans and African Americans in the Republican Party. She served while here as the president of the Black Student Union, and she was content co-lead for the inaugural Women in Power Conference. Regardless to say, she sets an exemplary standard for future events. But that's not all either. She has, while here, as wrote one of her nominators, dedicated significant time to working to improve HKS by improving diversity. This includes involvement in the search process for a new Associate Dean of Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging, and spending many hours working with other students, staff, and faculty to improve diversity at HKS. At the Diversity Committee meetings, held several times over the past 2 years, Shaniqua leads by broaching difficult topics and looking for productive ways to move forward. I really couldn't have said that better myself. So I will quote one final nominator who said, "If Shaniqua doesn't embody the ideals of the RFK Award, no one does." So for all of those reasons, it is my great pleasure to present Shaniqua McClendon with the RFK Award.
Hello. That was a long ceremony, right? Can I have all the class marshals up on stage, please?
Thank you all for being here. As we wrap up the class day or the Oscars of HKS, there are many thank yous due. Thank you to all of the class marshals. It was a privilege and a pleasure working with you. Thank you to Media Services, to Harvard University Dining Services for the sandwiches and cupcakes, to the security team and the facilities team at HKS, to Jane Finfoley and Sandy Parker for helping us with everything, to all the presenters who presented awards, to all the awardees, your honor is truly deserved. Thank you so much to Gozi's family. Thank you to all the families who attended and supported and came here to be with us. Thank you to all the little kids, my 3 little cousins, for being patient and quiet, laughing and crying at the right times. And thank you to all my fellow graduates. Congratulations, and we have 2 more days of fun, so save the energy. Thank you. 3 more days. 3 more days. Thank you so much, and this concludes today's ceremony, and we'll see you all soon.